Welcome to Atypical, an offbeat take on news in the addiction recovery field. I'm co-host Mary Crocker-Cook from the San Jose City College Alcohol and Drug Studies program.
And I'm Gary Montreza, co-host, Executive Director of Pathways Society in San Jose. MC squared.
That's right.
Come on.
GMO.
All right, there you go.
Our purpose is to both educate and entertain with recent news stories about addiction field. We've set our podcast up in sections that include drugs, news, an ethics challenge, and prevention. In fact, I'm going to start off with our first section. Why would you use that to get high?
Why would you do that?
And Gary, guess what today is?
I have no idea.
It is motion sickness pills. Motion sickness pills. A study from the Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Review notes that dramamine, dihydronate, may be abused for recreational purposes as well as by psychiatric patients seeking relief from their symptoms. In fact, the organization Consumer Med Safety notes that this is one of the top 5 over-the-counter medications likely to be abused by teens and young adults. Now, that gives us today's slang opportunity, Gary.
Well,
okay, here we go.
It's not just a theater joke, right?
No, here we go. Today's slang is people on the street call Dramamine dime tabs, DQ, substance D house, or drams.
Drams? You know what I'd call it?
What do you call it?
Throw.
Throw up.
Yep, I call it throw. So you heard it here first, GMO through the throw. I just threw it down.
Well, today we have to find a way to use it in a sense. Okay.
Spoken.
So I'm gonna put this in. Dime tabs may be taken at dosages of 800 to 1250 milligrams to produce a hallucinogenic effect. May also be taken in combination with alcohol to produce a sedative effect, which causes a heightened risk of dangerous side effects. In fact, some people have misused DQ to self-medicate due to its anti-anxiety effect.
No
and
kidding.
this calming effect is due to its sedative properties, which can be appealing among people, particularly who have anxiety disorders. Actually, Dramamine can cause dizziness, sedation, lightheadedness, all of which can get worse with the intentional overdose or misuse. Alcohol and opiates in conjunction with it can also make it worse, and that leads to the risk of overdose because D-house does carry a risk of overdose. Chest pain, oversedation, convulsions, seizures, tremors, elevated heartbeat, loss of consciousness.
And that's just not watching the news.
No, that's taking a dime tab there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to offer a testimonial from today's Urban Dictionary.
Okay. Go.
Okay, Dramamine motion sickness medicine that you can buy over the counter for a couple bucks is really easy to lift too. When you take more than the recommended dosage, it F's you up. You take 10 to 15 of them, you'll probably be really tired and quiet and forget everything you're saying. You'll see that everything around you starts to morph slightly. You can become really scared of loud noises. Also at 15 to 20, you will probably have all the effects. Plus, before you would likely hear voices in your head and you might start hallucinating. If you take 20 to 25, you will have lots of voices in your head and you'll start talking to them. And you don't know if what you heard is the people with you or the voices in your head. And you could possibly start seeing people, and the people you see look really realistic and it seems really normal to you. 25 and up, you turn into a brain dead zombie and all of your common sense is completely gone and you act like a complete lunatic. So our Urban Dictionary says you can try Dramamine, but I wouldn't do it more than a couple times because it F's your brain up. I'm not positive, but I heard it doesn't just kill brain cells. It actually eats holes in the lining of your brain. Yeah. So I think you should just stick with illegal drugs because they are way less harmful.
Oh, there we go.
That is today's advice from the Urban Dictionary.
Give up your rap career, by the way. You're not going to work on rap. It's not. Stick with the illegals. Yeah.
Stick with the illegals.
Yeah.
They're better for your brain.
What about your liver? That's the first thing I was thinking.
So that's today's offering, Gary.
So thank you for that.
That is today's, in case you were thinking of boating anytime soon.
Boating.
Yeah, pay attention.
Getting on an airplane.
Yes.
I see pilots everywhere.
And how many you take.
And then do you think there's some lab, there's this dark, velvet lab somewhere where there's a bunch of teens just laying around going, what can we try?
Yeah, pass me a dime tab.
Let's try. Well, I know. Let's try a bunch of dramamine. How did they get there?
15.
How did they get there?
It is amazing, isn't it? Okay, but I can see this one more than some of the others. You know, like the. I don't know how anybody ever thought of using. What was the first time we ever did the mothballs? I don't know how anybody got there. But this one I could see, because you could be already on Dramamine, take some alcohol, and notice, hey, I'm starting to feel a little funny.
I see.
I know. What if I took more? So I could see how this could happen.
Well, I'm still traumatized by the vodka tampon. That one, I still. If we ever fortunate to ever have an archive, that one we got to write that one out. That is one of your
favorites.
Okay. No, still.
You want to leave it out?
No, I got to leave that out.
Okay.
So, that's horrifying. And I have another one.
Always thinking of you.
Thinking of me. Yeah, that's why I love you. So, okay, so let's shift into our next section, news and addiction.
Okay.
And this one is a focus on. Well, it's from the Washington Post, and the title is "Unwise and Unnecessary."
Oh, that's the title.
Yes.
Okay.
But I won't give you the rest of it. Do you have your wisdom teeth still?
No, I do not.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
They had them out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And I
do you regret it?
Yeah, I lost
Did you
all my
feel
wisdom.
you lived? I know.
It's over with. I feel cheated. But, in my day, and I can say maybe in your day too, getting your wisdom teeth out was kind of like carpentry. It was just like one step above carpentry, wouldn't you say? It was kind of a lot of, with the
sawing them out.
Saws and chipping it away. And, I remember wow. Well, it was kind of a heavy duty.
Yeah, it was a big surgery.
Yeah, well, it was. Yeah. It was. And do you remember what they gave you after the surgery?
Oh, they gave me a lot. In fact, they gave me opiates that I promptly threw up. Because,
are you kidding?
Yes, I got Percodan, and I promptly barfed it everywhere. Yeah, I couldn't take them.
How long ago did you have these out? As a kid?
No.
Oh, as an adult?
As an adult.
Oh, I had them out as a kid.
You had your wisdom teeth out as a kid?
Typically in
normally that's
18,
an adult thing.
19, you get them out.
Okay.
And in my day, they did not give you Percocet.
Oh, you didn't get Percocet. Okay.
No, and they gave you Percocet. Well, guess what this article is about?
What?
MC squared.
What?
It is about wisdom teeth.
Okay.
And the role of prescription painkillers. And this is a story about a mom who kind of stumbled onto her son getting, he's younger, he's 19, getting him that out at that age. And he got a prescription. He didn't use it. He didn't feel he needed it. He just took ibuprofen and Tylenol, which is what I did when I was a kid.
Okay.
And she found a whole bottle of Percocet.
Oh.
In the unused, of course,
the unused. Okay.
In the bathroom, and so she had no idea that her 19-year-old son was prescribed Percocet, and that dentists seem to have no idea that they be also part of the article here helping feed the epidemic that resulted in a record 70,000 U.S. drug overdoses in 2017.
Wow.
As we know.
Wow.
As we've covered on this program here.
This very program.
And we've gotten letters from all kinds of people.
Absolutely.
And we're going to get one after this one, too,
oh, okay.
I can tell. So, as you know, most Americans are more likely now at this point to die of an overdose, of an opioid overdose, than in a car accident. So, it turns out that dentists are a prime suspect in propagating opioids with teens.
With teens?
With teens.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, and so, and it's a real problem. It's a public health issue here.
Wow.
So, here's the thought, too, around wisdom teeth. So it's almost like a rite of passage. Apparently you had yours much later.
Yeah.
But having a wisdom teeth out, said Andrew Colodine, who directs opioid treatment research at Brandeis, not a slouchy university.
No, not at all.
The aggressive prescribing of opioids to adolescents may be why we're in an epidemic.
I'll be darned.
That is brutal, a brutal statement. So, I guess apparently with you, having it done in the modern era, you got Percocet.
I did.
And that's pretty amazing.
And that's how I discovered that I would never be an opiate addict.
Yeah,
it made me so sick.
Makes me
I
really
could
sick.
not take it.
Yeah, I cannot do it at all. And back in the day, having brothers, it was always about who can tough it out the most.
Oh.
Just cauterize it. I know the finger's gone. It's okay. It's all right. We're good.
Hand me the torch.
Yeah. We have one. Even though it may hurt like hell,
course.
Of course, we had one brother that whimpered like a dog.
Oh.
But it was just better just to try to write it out, so I wouldn't want to take anything. Anyhow.
Okay.
So anyhow, in the Journal of the Journal of the American Dental Association observed that dentists prescribe 12% of pain-killing opioids, just behind family doctors. So they're at 15%. Dentists are right behind them in terms of the number of folks, the percentage of opioids they're prescribing.
And do they get any training in dental school about addiction?
Apparently not. And what's really interesting about this is that it's really the anti-inflammatories that work best. Mm-hmm. And so this is not even the appropriate treatment, really.
That's true, huh?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Dentists and oral surgeons are the number one prescribers of opioids to teenagers. Okay. What's so disturbing is that it's so unnecessary. Wow. So as I know, it was. Okay. Again, Advil, Tylenol, that's the best thing to go. Yeah. So the thing here is there's a recent research that talked about the dispensing of opioids really causing extractions, I should say, creating a high risk of addiction with teens. Yes. So check this out.
So parents need to pay attention.
Pay attention. Here's part of the study. 6% of almost 15,000 people between 16 and 25 were diagnosed with opioid abuse within a year of receiving initial opioid prescriptions from dentists in 2015. So that's 900 people. All right. And then they did a control group. In comparison, they did another group of who were diagnosed with, let's see, what does it say here? In comparison, 4% in a similar group who didn't get dental opioids were diagnosed. Right, so that's about 300 people we can probably attribute out of that 900
directly to starting opioid use with their dental work. Yep. Wow.
And boy, there's all kinds of other interesting things in this article. It's a very long article, but there is a person they spoke with that's a dentist, and let's just put it this way: there's insurance involved. Of course. And last year there was 71,000, claims, 13 to 30 of folks of that age who had their wisdom teeth removed between 2009. Were you in 2009? Before that? After?
It was before that.
Okay. Yeah. 2015. Those who filled opioid prescriptions were 2.7 times, almost 3 more likely than those who didn't take home opioids to be filling opioid prescriptions. Wow. The idea here is that, that's why you call it an addiction, right? Yeah. So apparently stuff really was hitting people hard. So in general, patients like this woman's son face almost triple the risk. Wow. So there you go. Okay. So another person. The lead author of the study, Calista Harbog, she's the one that's saying, I can't believe this is happening. We're prescribing narcotics to kids and teens. And it's dentists that are doing this. They could be playing an outsized role in the opioid epidemic.
Wow. And I wonder, is there anything about telling the dentist this?
They know now. All right. We know there's vast overprescribing of opioids. Okay. Duh. But then they spoke to another professor and a dentist as well. This is a quote. Dentists are also business owners. They want their patients. They don't want their patients to say, "I was in agony after I had this study." They want them to think, this was fine, everything's good. I was able to get the,
So they don't want their patients going around telling people, my dentist won't give me any pain medication.
Yeah. It didn't hurt at all. I went in, it was great. When we know, it's kind of a brutal, like I said, it's a bit brutal.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I discovered my favorite drug of choice, which is called nitrous oxide, for exactly that reason. Really? Because I can't take opiates, I discovered nitrous oxide.
Is that stuff that makes your voice go really high?
That's helium. That's helium. No. This is why I can't work in a dental office, because what's really cool about that is it knocks you out. At the same time, there's no hangover like drinking. But what I could say is they could use that instead of the pain. I'm just saying. They could. There's other options.
I mean, there's other options. So Ramesh and Nalaya is this professor and also a dentist, and he's pretty clear about this. he has quit prescribing opioids.
Oh, okay.
Period.
Okay.
Quote, I don't want to be responsible for someone becoming addicted to opioids. I personally think we can cut opioid prescribing in dentistry to less than half of what we do now. So that's a pretty damning assessment of what's going on. Other dentists, a person they cited here, Angela Rake, she slashed hers by a high amount as well.
Okay.
And she had personal experience with this. Her brother had been given opioids.
Wow.
For treatment of cancer, and he was an attorney, a young attorney, and, well, let's put it this way, he fell victim to being
addicted.
Yeah, addicted.
Oh.
Her attorney brother was a heroin addict living on the streets of Seattle last time that they...
so sorry to hear that.
Check in. So, I want to do a shout out if I can, and I'll wait for the letters to show up. It's 2 Z's at the end of my name, by the way. So who do we have? Who's responsible for making this happen? In other words, dentists have a business to run. They have to get these drugs from somewhere. Someone visits them and says, Oh,
I know who you're talking about.
Could it be Big Pharma?
Big Pharma! And their pharmaceutical reps.
Could it be that
we've done stories about this.
The pharmaceutical industry has repeatedly misled doctors, dentists, and the public about the addictive nature of opioids. Is that possible that Purdue Pharma, 2 Z's and recently, as you know, 3 executives pleaded recently in federal court about OxyContin.
Yes, they did.
And saying, well, it's not really that big of a deal. It's just mildly, I don't think it'd be that, addictive.
Right.
It'd be fine. And then I want to do a shout out to the folks that own Purdue Pharma.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be the Sackler family.
Oh, they've been in the news lately. 2
Z's and an A. We'll wait to hear from your attorney. And as you know, what happened in Oakland, they lost big time, about $270 million big time.
Yes, they did. They got hit.
They got hit.
Mm-hmm.
So, the idea here is it's just more than dentists
of course.
Prescribing meds. It's a whole pharmaceutical industrial complex. And what was particularly disturbing to me and rather disgusting is that this is tying it directly to getting kids involved.
Exactly.
Early. By doing something as benign as going into the dentist to get their wisdom teeth out. So there's more here, but she also mentions Prince, who, apparently was a very, lived a pretty clean life and had a religious practice that really would not allow him to take opioids. So there's speculation, this doctor speculating that, I wonder if his pain, the mismanagement of his pain caused his untimely death. So it just hits so many levels.
Yes,
this
it
article
does.
Hits so many.
Wow. Yes, it does.
But,
thank you for bringing that. Wow.
There's so much more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just every time we talk about this and we think about, what do we need to pay attention to? Right? And, it's not something that people think about in terms of dental work. Now, I know recovering people do, because in residential treatment, it's usually the first appointment they require because they actually like to go to the dentist, because then they come back with nice big full bottles of Vicodin. So people who are already addicted are well aware of this dental connection. But the rest of the population would have no idea that this is a good place to get opiates. And partly because, again, lack of information and training, because I don't even know that they have a course or anything that they learn about this. Like most MDs are not trained around the addiction process. So,
agreed. They even this article even expands into the notion of well-meaning doctors prescribing things for sports injury and minor surgeries and all that. And I just think to myself, it wasn't that way when I was younger. You really did only get maybe some ibuprofen and I don't know, something else.
What was it like the heavy duty Motrin or something like 6 times the normal thing? But anyway, it was ibuprofen.
That's right. I mean, if you sprain something,
right.
We just didn't have all this issue.
Yeah.
And then you kind of learned about your own pain and your own threshold, and you kind of worked with it.
Right.
These days, no one has any pain, they really don't know how to deal with it if they do have it.
Well, the problem is if you medicate the pain too much, then you re-injure yourself, right?
Yes,
because that's the thing. You take your back medication, then you go out and garden, and you don't even notice you're hurting.
Yeah.
And then you injure yourself again. So, yeah.
That was because you didn't have a wheel on the...
You know what? I have another garden tool story for you today. I know you're going to love it.
I'm just waiting for you to come in with a cast on. Okay. Yeah, that's...
Wow, thanks for bringing that. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
America's Dentist.
Yeah, American Dentist.
And they separate family, 2 Z's.
Okay.
And an A. Yeah.
All right. Is that
where
it?
we're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, boy, it's now time for our ethics challenge.
Should we use the last article as our ethics challenge?
You want to do that?
Because there's challenging ethics in there. No,
go ahead.
You can do whatever you want.
Oh, you mean you want to use the
aren't the ethically challenged? I mean, some of the folks that are prescribing.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
I think it's bizarre.
That is bizarre. That is bizarre. Yeah. But I was thinking more specifically about our counselors acting badly, because I have an article particularly, and so addiction counselors. If you're an addiction counselor, get out your CCAP ethics codes and follow along. We have a link to our atypicalpodbean.com. So I'm going to read this story, and then you can tell me. I'm going to get mine out also, so we can sort of take a look at it.
There we go.
I've gotten feedback that people really love this part of our show. They actually do. They love counselors acting badly.
Oh, I thought we're challenged.
Yeah, well, obviously we're challenged in so many ways.
Yeah.
But apparently this is a hit. So all right.
Let's go.
Okay, so this is called "Why Judges' Ruling on Patient Brokering May Upend Prosecutions." This is very disturbing. Like dozens of others charged with patient brokering since prosecutors began the crackdown on Palm Beach County's illicit drug treatment industry. James Keegar blames his legal woes on bad advice he received from his attorney. The excuse, once dismissed as idle finger-pointing, this week became a powerful tool Keegar and other treatment center operators can use to help them beat charges that they used recovering addicts to get rich. In a ruling praised by defense attorneys and threatens to upend State Attorney David Ehrenberg's war on the county's runaway sober home industry, Circuit Judge Laura Johnson paved the way for those charged with patient brokering to drag their attorneys into court to prove that they thought what they were doing was legal. Quote, a defendant may assert the advice of counsel defense when charged with violations of the Florida patient brokering statute, Johnson wrote in a 6-page order released Wednesday. Further, she ruled that Ehrenberg's prosecutors must prove that those who are accused of paying kickbacks to have patients referred to their drug treatment centers knew what they were doing was illegal. Before her ruling, prosecutors simply had to prove that kickbacks were paid. It's a great ruling, says Hollywood attorney David Frankel, who represents Keegar.
Oh, yeah.
Keegar is a 57-year-old Boca Raton man charged with 147 counts of patient brokering in connection with his operation of Whole Life Recovery Treatment Center in Boynton Beach, and he claims his attorney helped him set up his operation. And so Keegar is also represented by attorneys at the powerful global law firm Baker Hofstetter. The state attorney's office blasted Johnson's rulings. It will make it impossible for prosecutors to pursue unscrupulous drug treatment center operators who are trading cash for patients, Assistant State Attorney Justin Chapman said in court papers filed Wednesday. The practical effect of this court ruling would be to legalize kickbacks and split fee arrangements in private health care, and such a ruling would render the Patient Brokering Act meaningless. So he's asking the judge to reconsider, and if she won't, he's going to appeal to the 4th District Court of Appeal.
Yeah.
And if it is appealed, it's likely the prosecution of dozens of other patient brokering cases would cease until they get this figured out. So
this doesn't make sense to me.
It's incredible.
Now, it's going to the district court, which it must be overturned, because here's the rationale I'm hearing in here. So let's say you were on your way to the podcast today, to the lovely studios of the
our expansive Atypical Closet Studios, yes.
If you've seen the picture on our podcast website, it's 2 chimps, and that's
yes, it
pretty
is.
much how the office looks.
Pretty much it.
So when you said you're going to be a little bit late today.
Yeah, I know.
And so let's say you were just driving really fast, and you weren't aware of the actual posted speed limit in the neighborhood you were speeding through. at the time trying to get to the Atypical podcast,
exactly,
would you still get a ticket?
Absolutely,
even
I
though
would.
You didn't know the postage stamp.
They would show me no sympathy, even if I did try to cry. That's still get a ticket.
There you go. I think this is not going to go anywhere. It makes about 0 cents.
Well, here's what Keegar claims: his original attorney, Lynn, a former Boca Raton assistant city attorney, told him he could pay sober home operators, quote, case management fees to send patients to his treatment center.
I see.
And then Lynn said the sober home operators could be compensated from the money Keegar received from the patient's insurers. The big payoff for treatment center operators came from ordering expensive and unnecessary tests of recovering drug addict urine. Again,
we love
insurance would pay as much as $5,000 for one drug screening, which is insane. Insane.
Yeah.
So, and scores of tests were ordered each day. However, interestingly enough, in a deposition in an unrelated case, Attorney Lynn said he never had presented Keegar. In fact, he said when he talked to the drug treatment center operators, he made it clear that they should be mindful of the state's patient brokering law and make sure they didn't violate it. He says you cannot pay for a patient, you cannot pay for referral, which was his advice. You cannot induce or pay a patient to patronize your treatment center, and you can't use any artifice or marketing as a way to kick back to break that law. So Lynn says, no, actually, I never did serve as your attorney.
Exactly.
Okay,
they're claiming malpractice against attorneys.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's pretty amazing.
And according to Lynn, he never even represented him.
Yeah.
So there we go.
I don't. We'll see. Mar-a-Lago.
That's
Mar-a-Lago. In Palm Beach. Palm Beach.
Who could be doing cyber espionage even as we speak, breaking into Mar-a-Lago?
Right now, you have somebody walking into Mar-a-Lago with a bunch of drugs. Doesn't matter. As long as they pay.
As long as they're not illegal,
as long as they're not illegal.
That's right.
They can get in.
So basically, we have several, I would say, here in Principle 1, we've got advertising, marketing, and promoting programs in a false and misleading manner. What else would you say?
I think that's securing a credential, but it's misrepresenting where would that be? Misrepresenting.
Well, no, advertising's D.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also under 2 boundaries.
Yeah, and there's legal definitions of case management. That one cracked me up.
Yeah, case management, right. Under B, they got engaging in a business relationship within 1 year of the termination. So they were clearly already engaged in business. So pretty much, and then failing to inform clients about financial policies because the clients didn't get any part of that kickback.
No, they have
not at all.
They weren't part of it.
Not at all.
And they would have liked
to have a little part of that kickback.
$5,000.
Exactly, they would.
And
so there we go. Basically, it's the attorney's fault because they gave me bad advice by not telling me it was illegal to buy patients. Come on.
Blame the attorneys.
Come on.
That's a new one.
It is. It is indeed.
It does sound like someone we know.
Yes, it does.
At the national level.
Actually, that guy I think should sit on the cabinet.
He could. He should. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, he's a cabinet member, right?
He'd be a great cabinet member.
It's always someone else's fault, don't you know?
Here we go.
Well, that was interesting. Next time we're gonna have to get some of those really juicy ones in there now.
Okay, absolutely. Well, there's a couple that came out this week that I'm hoping to score for next time.
Are pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Right. We'll get a gnarly one.
All right. We'll get them in there. So, thank you for again just brightening my day. With
now that we've attacked dentists and attorneys.
The dentists and attorneys and just the lovely people in Palm Beach. It's a shout out. Shout out to you. So it's always a good time after hearing some of these to shift our focus into, relapse prevention and ways people are staying sober.
Okay.
Kind of having a good life. So
excellent.
This is out of Boston, and I'm going to try not to do a Boston accent.
Okay.
Like that. But this is from the pilot, which is in South Boston. It's the title of the article is Literature. Let me read it.
Okay.
Liturgy. Yes.
Oh,
series focuses on addiction recovery. So this is a series of churches that got together in this joint project. 3 ministries in South Boston.
Okay.
Got together to see what they could do to help folks come together and maybe reconnect with, if they were in a spiritual practice, reconnect with the spiritual practice, or maybe even reconnect with other people, maybe reconnect with services. It could be all kinds of things.
Okay.
So the notion is this particular community has been really hit hard by the addiction and overdose deaths. In fact, they use the term severe. One of the deacons here, Paul Klein, has told the Pilot, which is this paper. So enough of these folks got together and said, what can we do? Can we, it just have to be some kind of elegant program? And really it's not. It's just simply they're opening their doors and holding these services that are, for them, they describe them, this fellow, Anthony Andrettolo, described it kind of this way: for people in recovery who wanted to explore their spirituality at a greater depth than traditional AA or 12-step meetings that might allow. So the idea was they opened the church up and they were just saying, here, look, we just thought it might be time to try something different where we can celebrate recovery and struggle, the fight, and also remember the people that have passed and kind of honor them. So
you're saying they actually wrote their own liturgy?
Yeah, they came in and they kind of, and it's based on, there's a recovery component to it.
Okay, yeah.
But you don't have to be in recovery. You can just show up and you're accepted.
Oh, wow.
And so, for example, there was this idea, and to them this is an experiment. They're opening the door to everyone that would show up.
Okay.
And so here's this guy that he's recounting, this fellow Anthony's recounting. I had a guy come in with this whole family, and we talked to him after, and he said, wow, I can go to church with my family and my recovery is front and center and it's being honored and respected.
Wow.
And that's really cool because it's normalizing it and it's destigmatizing it.
Absolutely.
And it's also reunifying that family. Maybe they were estranged, So
yeah.
I thought.
Well, yeah, it kind of creates recovery as part of the family ethic. That's lovely.
Part of the family ethic.
Yeah.
So the deal is they had the first two liturgies took place at a couple of the churches, but the reviews have been really cool. People are having a really good time.
Wow.
What's interesting is they said when they're there, they reach certain crisis points with people, but they don't offer any particular solution. So they've kind of learned the first lesson about just being present.
Yeah, just listening and not trying to solve it.
And maybe a little MI,
Wow, right? Motivational interviewing.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So they've gotten some good feedback. And again, it's just a place for people to come in and be open. Here's the deal. He goes on to say, addiction, like any illness, like any adversary, changes our life story. And some of the pages in our story that have been written by the disease can be very hard to read, and some memories are very painful to touch.
Yes, they are.
The idea is to kind of set the pain and shame and bitterness that make people kind of run away. This is an option to get them connected again. And it sounds to me like a very loose option, which is good. There's no great organization. You're not coming into a program. You're not expected to do anything. You're just there to be, and the idea here, he goes on, this is Amy, who spent 38 years in recovery, shared her experience in going and helping, so it's drawing people in recovery there as well.
To actually come and do service.
Yes. I think it draws people into this service and makes them feel more comfortable with identifying as being in recovery because there's so much stigma related to that.
That's wonderful. Yes, that's a model that can really be easily replicated.
Yeah. To me, it's just a natural extension of being a human being.
Exactly.
So I like this. It's uplifting.
Yeah.
There's no golden what we call liquid gold.
No, nobody's selling urine.
This is not in Palm Beach. It's in Boston.
Okay.
But
that idea of the different faiths coming together too makes me happy.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, to me, I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, SAMHSA actually has a tip or like a treatment provider thing for clergy.
Oh.
They do, for how to help clergy work with their parishioners more effectively and to teach clergy about addiction. So there is such an animal. And I think that's important because they see it all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily know what to do about it.
Yeah, they're in the front line.
Exactly. So anyway, good for them.
Yeah,
good for them.
Lovely story, and very, made me feel better after the other one.
Yeah. Well, okay, now we come to our last section, humility check moment. This section reminds us not to take ourselves too seriously, a key to burnout prevention and humility. Okay.
What's the last word? Oh, humility.
Humility. Who wants to go first?
Oh, gosh.
You want to go first?
Well, I can go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
You and I were having this really interesting discussion before we started.
Yeah.
So I can actually share a couple. I've had problems with directions lately, so I'll go into that one in a minute.
Okay.
But you were talking about people who are licensed, and how we all get wrapped up in our roles.
Right.
Like I have a role and a title or a degree, and you do.
Right.
You have all these different things, and people get really embedded in that lens system that they have.
Yes, they do. And
the goal here would be to kind of take ourselves out of that lens systems and understand there's things we need to learn at all times. Learn, grow, repeat.
Okay.
So some of you know I might have said this before. I was involved with aviation and aircraft, and I got to actually touch them and fly. And I can't to this day I can't believe that I actually did engineering and worked on aircraft. But
yes, you did.
I remember when I first, and might have told this story offline before, I first got my licenses, and I had my first job in aeronautics, and I was like an exuberant, pronking animal going out to the first airplane. And I grab it, and I get in, I start taxiing it over, and then I hear this voice, I get to the hangar, son, step away from the aircraft.
Oh, step away from
the aircraft. So I thought I was going to do the simplest thing on his airplane, and this old fellow Joe, who's no longer with us, who is a lovely man, he son, step away from the aircraft. Different era. But, and I stepped away, and the notion being, yeah, we know you got all these licenses and stuff, and we know you went to school and blah, 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 blah. But you still don't know anything. You're still dangerous.
Don't think you're really going to fly it.
Don't think you're going to do anything without us watching you for about a year or two.
Wow.
And that was how it worked.
Wow.
So all that coaching and mentoring, and then I really got to learn.
Okay.
I learned through other people.
Well, you learned all the stuff that's not in the books.
So I had I construe, and maybe you construe, as a license to learn. That's all.
Oh, good
I didn't have a license that was a terminal point where I knew everything. That was the starting point of the next phase.
I love that.
So
son, step away.
Son, step away from the aircraft. I might even say it to some of you sometime.
That is a funny phrase, but I think it's well said.
Step away from the client.
That's right.
Well, all you need here now, no technique is required. Just listen.
Just empathy.
And just empathy. You don't need any technique for that. You don't have to go to school.
That's right. It's just called empathy and caring and compassion.
And I have millions of those types of stories. But the one that's been most concerning to me lately, and I must be overwhelmed, some of us know there's a local mental health agency. I wasn't seeking their services, but I was going to meet someone there locally. And I was driving, and I had just... I like to go through the neighborhoods and stay off the big streets, and I needed to make a right turn. And I just made a left turn. I made a right turn and just drove over to where we normally meet with our local drug and alcohol providers with the county. Okay. And I parked.
Like a lemming. You just went straight to where we meet.
And then I drove in, and I was ready to park. I'm like, I'm supposed to be at Momentum for Mental Health. That's a free ad. Free ad for Momentum for Mental Health. So I turned around, got back on the road.
Automatic pilot.
Yeah, that was
goes right on over to the county.
That was about a 7-8 minute little meeting with one of your colleagues.
Oh, good.
Dr. Richardson.
Oh, I love her. Stacy Richardson.
Yeah. And so there you go, folks. It happens to all of us, and I'm not sure what that means now. Maybe it's an age thing. Maybe it's being overwhelmed.
It might be. You got a lot. You got a big kingdom that you're juggling here.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But this has happened more. This has happened more lately.
Oh well, you might be. Got a lot on your mind, buddy.
I'm going to have to adjust.
I think more often people might have to say to you, "Step away from step away from the vehicle."
Simple things. Step away from the coffee machine. Step away from. If I start hearing that, step away. Step away from the butter knife. Okay. We know we're in trouble.
Okay. Well, this is my ridiculous story, and I save it for you because it involves garden. My blower, the blower,
power tool,
and I know how much you love that.
Is this one a gas one or electric?
No, it is electric.
Okay,
it's electric. Which is of course plugged into the horrifying scenario that you already know about.
Yeah, I'm afraid of this part. Any of the electricity in you, okay, go ahead.
So anyway. Okay, so this is probably about a month ago, but there was a ridiculous amount of weeds in my front area, and not weeds, but leaves, and I have like that volcano little rock thing, so you can't rake. You have to actually blow the leaves off of the volcanic rock to get it to go. Okay?
I don't understand. You have a volcano?
I have the volcano. You know the little black rocks in the front? Okay, yeah. Those are called volcanic. Okay. So
like lava rock.
There you go. Okay. So I pull them off. I'm blowing, and then I had to, of course, blow them into a pile. And I was blowing them toward the street to make a pile, and I got them on the street. But the pile was very cattywampus, and I thought that is unacceptable looking pile for my neighbors to have to be looking at. I need to do something about that pile. Well, the thing is, Gary, I didn't notice the significance of the fact there was a car parked by the pile did not hit me.
Did not dissuade you from your path. Go.
So I go into the street and I start to try to blow my pile one direction. And all of a sudden, the car is covered with leaves. So then I have to try to blow the leaves.
Oh, did it rain? Had it rained? Were they sticking?
No. And then I had to blow all the leaves off the car that I covered them on. And so now they're in the middle of the street, Gary.
Jeez.
So now this pile is gone from cattywampus to strewn.
At this point, I'm praying that you ran out of cord and it just unplugged and you couldn't do any more damage.
Finally, I surrendered the blower. I stepped away from the blower. I put the blower down and I went, this is going to call for a broom.
Blow her down. Yeah.
So I had to go get my big broom and I had to try to reclaim all the leaves I'd blown up and down the street because I was trying to get them off the car once I'd blown them on the car to try to get them back to some semblance of a pile. There you go, Gary. It was horrifying. And so a job that should have taken 15 minutes.
Your neighbors.
Easily took 40.
I think they have a YouTube channel, unbeknownst to you. And it's you in your yard.
Attempting to garden.
And attempting to garden. And I think neighbors, if you hear that, that's what I do, because I think it's going to earn a lot.
Well, I'm telling you what, along with that, I had an equal pile problem that I discussed it with my class on Monday because I had also done a huge weed pile, pulled a bunch of weeds, and I had me a big old pile. In fact, it was such an impressive pile on Monday, I took a picture.
You need an intervention.
I know. And I did not know, but I got a big pile. So I took a picture of it. So Monday morning, I get ready to go to school, and I parked the back out, and somebody has driven a big-ass truck through my pile and dragged my weeds.
Oh, so you got weeds all over?
Down the street.
Oh, no.
So I have to put my car and stop and go get out the big brush. And once again,
it's called park.
I'm in the middle of the street, shoving all the weeds back into some semblance of a pile. And then I had to go to class and have a discussion because I chose to use it for cognitive behavioral therapy discussion. I was trying to illustrate. I used this incident of cognitive behaviorals because it's talking about stimulation like an event causes distorted thinking, which then causes distorted behavior.
There's distorted thinking you have is anything related with power tools and gardening. You have lots of distorted thoughts around that. I'm not sure why. Because I'm not the therapist you are. There's an issue. There's an issue.
So my students wanted to see the pile, but fortunately I'd taken a photo. So I was able to, while telling the story, have up on the big screen
check the YouTube
pile. And they agreed that it was a mighty fine pile.
Okay.
And that whoever had run through it with their truck had obviously had pile envy.
It's a malicious thing. I would say this. I want to ask you a serious question.
Okay.
Are blowers and like getting all the leaves in a certain place, is this like a latent kind of herding mentality?
I do like it to be organized, my little pile to be organized.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, work on that one. And let's get back to me. Let's revisit that one.
I know.
And then, I want to check the YouTube site too. Okay, pictures of we even can identify the car that drove through your pile.
You should see the size of the tires.
You need cameras in front of you.
It was a big tires. So it was someone who clearly had pile envy. That was the class decision.
Pile envy.
We decided he had pile envy.
I was just hoping that the cord would be unplugged. You learn how to cord and save yourself, but it didn't happen.
Well, there you go, Gary. There's a couple of my. I love to talk about tools with you. I save them up. Very good. Okay. Because horrifying
you. Let me see your hands.
I know. Horrifying you.
There's 10 there, folks.
I have all my fingers. Yes, I do. And I don't know. Do you know if it's going to rain this weekend? Because I have more gardening to do.
A little bit of rain.
Okay.
Don't use the blower on this rain.
You know what? Because my next gardening task.
No blower, electrical.
No. My next gardening task is going to include the hedge trimmer. Right. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right. You heard it here first. We hope to see you next week.
I'm sure more ridiculousness will prevail.
It shall.
We want to thank you for joining us. We hope you'll join us in the future. Be sure and subscribe to Atypical and tell other people you know who need ridiculous support in the addiction area. We're here. Okay. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.